Bonjour, sabubona, and annyeonghaseyo. Hey, it's Tom, and I'm up on the roof today because today we're doing Tinktube. Gonna get an early start this morning. Beautiful sky, but a storm is coming. Got to get this roof done today. We just threw a piece of roof panel up on there to get a sense for the profile. And of course we're gonna go, 3 inches up from that with that air gap. So then Scott tells me he's got a name for this thing.
It's pretty obvious, it's the chicken coop.
Chicken coop. So does that make Beetle a chicken?
Yes, that makes him the rooster, I guess.
Oh, nice, yeah. There was a chicken.
There was one right over there, yeah.
So this used to be a home, and the people that lived here had chickens, and so there was a chicken coop right here, and now we have a new chicken coop.
The new coop.
The new coop. The coop du jour. I'm using these Tinktube connectors to attach the vertical elements for the standoffs, and I'm gonna attach them with these power lags from Spax. It actually uses a T30 bit star drive, so I'm going up in size for this one. In addition, I'm going to be putting 2-inch screws into the 3 additional holes into the spacer, with the 5-inch lag going all the way down into the headers. That'll provide a nice secure connection for the Tinktube roof frame. And the roofing is being purchased new. Since we'll be protecting expensive sound equipment, definitely want this to not have holes in it. And a roof makes a building last, so that's the goal here as well. I did find one extra piece that Scott had in the barn, and we picked up a few more. But make sure to put my brackets on over where I have my spacers. I've got a double rafter on the end here, so that's gonna be where I mount this. That's sturdy, but I'm still gonna do the other ones just to be safe. I don't want to over compress this down because it will just crush the insulation, so just snug is enough. And I've got my center lag providing most of the holding strength. These are going in at a 22-inch interval, 22 inches from the end, not 22 inches on center, at least for this gap. But I also want to make sure that I can feel the spacer. My spacer's right underneath here, so I'm safe to install this. Now I'm going to install the rest of them. Train's here. I did the math wrong. When I divided my width into 5 sections, I counted that I would need 5 brackets. I need 6 brackets because there are 5 sections. I didn't count the extra end piece. I use these same brackets on my greenhouse roof, and Tinktube brackets are reusable, so I'm gonna go borrow one from that. I'll replace this with my next order. An extra bonus of the Tinktube system is that all the parts can be reused for other projects. They call it retinkable. If it's thinkable, it's retinkable. All right, I've got all my brackets in, and now I'm gonna add in the posts. So the brackets that are gonna hold my roof poles will go like this. But I need a small section of post to enable me to connect the two brackets. But it only needs to be about 2 inches long because I'm gonna cover up the whole section of pipe with the brackets. In the Tinktube store, they also sell this pipe cutter. It's a convenient way to easily and accurately cut these sections of pipe. Because I'm covering this up all the way, I'm using scraps of some of the different colors of Tinktube pipe that I have. I'm gonna tap this in. I'm gonna secure this section of pipe into the bracket with the square drive screws. The four colors that Tinktube offers are galvanized and powder coated white, black, and copper. It's not a true copper, but it looks like copper. Now that all my posts are in, it's time to install the pipes going in this direction. And I'm using the full 92 inches that Tinktube delivers. Just a few inches shy of 8 feet. My roofing panels are 8 feet long, so these will be tucked in under the ends just slightly. That'll be just fine. One really nice feature of these brackets is that you can install them simply by closing them around the pipe. And then they're simply connected with a hex nut and bolt on the back. Before I tighten this down, I'm gonna make sure I have my overhangs right. That one hex nut provides the clamping force around the pipe as well as the grip on the post. I will still anchor that with a screw on both parts once everything is set in place. Now you can kind of get a real sense for the profile of the building. All right, now that all my poles are up going this way, I'm gonna do connectors this way. I'm gonna do 3 rows, and I'm actually gonna connect them between these pipes. Use a bracket like this that allows me to put a pipe on both sides, connected like this. It's gonna lock the whole roof frame together and give me some cross members here to screw into. Of course, that means I'm gonna need to cut lengths between each of these brackets. And I'll need to measure them all too, because I think there's probably a little bit of variation between each gap. center section is done, and now for the last section. Here. My Tinktube frame is on. This thing is sturdy. I'm really excited with how this turned out. It took some time to do it. Part of that was because I was up and down the ladder, but this system is simple and elegant. I know most of my shots were from a distance today, so let me give you a quick close-up to show you how nicely this system goes together. Most of the brackets come in two parts like this, and then they interlock together like that around a section of pipe. This square groove here actually holds the nut in place, so you don't need a wrench to hold the nut on the back side. I'll just hold that with a finger and then take the hex bolt, get it threaded. Sometimes it helps to take a look and make sure that that's sitting in the nut properly. Generally you can feel when it's threading correctly. Then you tighten that down with the Allen wrench, but not before you put the other section of pipe in. Tinktube did send me these materials for free, but I've used this before and I really love this system. Of course, a bracket like this just fits around like that and then gets two of the hex nuts. The fittings also have holes that you can put a self-tapping screw into to secure the pipes in place. There, 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 and there. And there are certainly more brackets than this. Check out the website, you can see just how many options they have. Alright, and now for the roofing metal. Because the brackets create raised sections in the pipe, I'm actually going to be putting these spacers on the pipe next to where I'm screwing in, just so it doesn't bend the roof down. Unless of course I'm right next to a bracket, in which case the bracket will serve as the spacer. Whew. Alright, so you got a sense for how I'm finishing this off with the galvanized roofing, but I'm running out of light, so I wanted to go ahead and close this video out while I could still be up here on the roof. I ran out of light before I could put in the last couple of screws in the roof, so I've got it clamped on there until this rain passes and I can finish it up. Special thanks to my patrons and members for helping make these videos possible. I really do appreciate the support and vote of confidence that gives me. I also appreciate all the great comments you're leaving and feedback and ideas and suggestions. As always, my mission here at GreenShortz is to help you see green so you can be green and save a little green by doing it yourself. I'm saving music on Main Street a ton of money by building this tiny studio from materials that are reclaimed from the green stash. Now that's my pile of materials in the backyard that I've been reducing over the last several months by making things, but maybe you don't have access to a stash of your own. In next week's video, I'm going to be at Lifecycle Building Center picking up a few materials for this building. Lifecycle Building Center is one of 1,300 building materials reuse centers around the US, so if you don't have a stash of your own, chances are good there's one near you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Saturday.